I don't know why I'm so like brain dead on that.
Combat, so dot, combat, so dot, combat, so dot, com.
Top of the evening to my next of kin, to my friends, to my company, to everybody therein, to all those I know not, much to my chagrin. I'd like to begin tonight's episode by introducing Christine Quinn. She's running for Congress in Florida's 14th district, a system of simplistic-minded scum, embodying a spirit that's socialistic. It's all explicit, nothing's logical, men and women are no longer biological. We're social constructs that can modify our genders at the hospital. The Tower of Babble is climbing high and nothing is impossible. I'm not trying to be theological, but technology is sometimes symbolic and biblical. The world is a circus and everybody's miserable. It's time for some new blood, a businesswoman, a civic leader, a blonde bombshell from California who's damn sure not a cheerleader. Creating jobs, expanding education options, supporting military, our veterans, lowering healthcare costs, protecting freedom for me and you and all Americans, no matter which specimen. Black, brown, yellow, red, white, no matter the comparison. Kathy Castor is an absolute embarrassment. The midterms are closing near, so let's hear her from the stump, because a vote for Christine Quinn is a vote for Donald Trump. Ain't that right, Christine?
I love that. Did you make that up?
Made that up.
That was very good.
Tonight's guest is Christine Quinn, wife, mother, grandmother, successful entrepreneur, and candidate for U.S. Congress in Florida's 14th district. That's Tampa Bay, baby. Welcome to episode 188 of Bobby Pickles Podcast.
That's
outstanding.
This is great.
All right, Christine Castor, we got her on the podcast tonight, and like I said, she is a candidate for Congress and Florida's Quinn. No, I said
going against Castor.
You're going against Castor. I'm so sorry. What is the deal with Castor? What's the deal with Castor? Why do you want to take her out?
Well, originally the main reason was I flew up to Washington, D.C. to have a meeting with her, and I went into her office, and they actually did ask me if I was a Republican or Democrat, and I was kind of being a smartass, and I said, well, I'm a human. And my friend was with me and said, oh, no, she's a Republican. She said, well, Miss Castor doesn't see Republicans in this office. And I said, well, then I guess we'll have to unseat her so that she can see her constituents, because whether I'm a Democrat or Republican, I'm a voter. And she was passing the legislation and through Congress. I mean, she's really Nancy Pelosi's puppet. And it was going to dramatically impact my ability to manufacture seasonings. And all of this is under the guise of the EPA. And it's really nonsense. You can't put a one size fits all and then expect everybody to conform. Now, of course, we all want to have safety in our food, right? We all want to make sure that we're in compliance. But with me, I'm the bottom man on the totem pole. So when these big corporations like Publix and Costco and Safeway and Vons and H-E-B, they all have to be in compliance. So all their vendors, all their suppliers have to be in compliance, right? So that's fine. I don't mind. I'll be in compliance. But when they so in our particular instance, I do not use water for processing at all. We're a dry rub. There's no water used at all in any of my processes. Well, in these new food audits that get passed through and crammed down our throats by Congress, it may look good on paper, but they don't understand the implementation of these things. So unfortunately, in the audit, it was 25 points. And the auditor asked me, well, where's your comprehensive written plan for water? And I said, well, I don't have one. We don't use water. So that turned into kind of a fist fight with him, so to speak, with words. And and I failed. I didn't pass the audit. And because I didn't pass the audit, I didn't get to go into Costco. Well, Costco doesn't care, really. I mean, they wanted my product, but if I'm not going to be in compliance and I don't pass the audit, well, they just move on. They're not going to wait for me. I would have had to go through. Now, I have to ask you, if I don't use water for processing, how do I write a comprehensive written plan for water? And my question to the guy was really, well, I'm getting water from the county, so that is potable water. Are you telling me the water that we use to wash the dishes, that is not, that's what I need to have a comprehensive written plan on? So anyway, I went up there to see her, to talk to her about that. She went and talked to me about it. I've been trying to write to various other congressmen and women, and some will write you back, and you get these little token letters. I don't want a token letter. I want a solution to the problem. Here's the problem. You can't have a one size fits all. We all want to be in compliance, but you can't fail me for not having a process that I don't have, right? It would seem like it would be simple language just to take it out, or to give me kind of a waiver for that, so to speak, right? If it's not applicable, then just say not applicable, but don't deduct 25 points so that I don't pass the audit. It should be a 0, or just give me the 25 points if that's what it takes to keep it in. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And you try to talk to these people and they don't understand. And so therefore I just decided, well, then I'll go to Congress. I'll write the legislation. I'll kind of go through and redline everything out. I think we need to, and I hate using this word deregulation, but we need to get rid of these rules and regulations. And I don't think what people understand. When Congress passes a law, right, then they have to have an agency to kind of fulfill that law, to monitor it, to have guidelines. So then an agency gets developed at taxpayers' expenses. And then the congressmen and women are off to something else. They don't care. They pass the law. They pass it off to an agency. In my case, it was the EPA. So I feel like the Environmental Protection Agency has completely overstepped its boundaries. And I don't think that people understand that. And so it doesn't just impact me. It impacts businesses. Like every single thing that we have is in color, right? All of our packages are in color. And when these print shops have to package it, then they have a waste product. And what we should do is give them a tax incentive to dispose of it correctly, instead of taxing them more or fining them, which causes them to have to shut down, right? So then where did all the print shops go? In 2008, there was a huge exodus under the Obama administration, and they all went to China. So what is China? Do you think China is holding people to these environmental standards?
Okay, let's go back. Okay. Actually, I own a print shop. I'm podcasting from my print shop right now.
There you go.
But so back to okay, you own a company called My Family Seasonings, right? Yes.
Correct. Yes.
That you created, and it's a great story how you created the brand, and I really want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
But the initial thing that got you into this race and stuff was going to try to speak with your current congressional, your current congressperson, Kathy Castor,
right,
who represents your district. She refused to see you about this particular issue. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I never got even a letter back. We wrote a bunch of letters. And so I flew up there and never got any response.
But my point is, though, that's exactly how Laura Loomer got into the race, too. She got in the race exactly the same reason, because she was trying to go to speak with Lois Frankel. And Lois Frankel refused to speak with her and help her with her whole, getting shut down on social media and stuff like that. So that made her want to get into politics herself. So I guess I'm hearing the same thing from you. But what exactly did it have to do with the potable water again? What was that about?
Potable water. So we don't use water, and there were 5 questions on the audit, and it was they wanted me to have a comprehensive plan for water, right? But I don't use water, so why would I have a comprehensive plan? I wouldn't have a plan.
This is just bureaucracy, basically. I mean,
yes, total bureaucracy, but it impacts everybody down the pipeline because now my product's not in the store. I lost that's $1 million a year contract. When it starts hitting to me in my pocketbook, I'm going to fight back because so these rules and regulations and all these compliances don't make me a better businesswoman. They don't make my product better. They don't increase sales. They don't, oh wait, that's Gambray. Take that one down. They don't help me it doesn't make it a better product for you in the store at all, right? So then what all it does is puts more regulations on me that will shut me down as a small manufacturer because I'm the little guy in the totem pole. And then big corporations like McCormick, well, they can absorb that. And all they have to do is just wait it out to get my shelf space. So shelf space is valuable, right? We have real estate within the grocery stores for our product. So they don't need to worry about little old My Family seasonings. All they have to do is push more of these compliances and rules on to these smaller companies, and pretty soon we go away. Guess what? McCormick gets the whole shelf. And then you have fewer choices as a consumer because you don't get to pick what you want. You get to have what the grocery stores are going to sell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no choices.
So your mom was in the printing business, is that right?
Originally, yes. My mom was a very good memory. Yes, she started a company called Speedy Copy Center.
Okay. So what kind of printing did you do? You just said you copied, just say copies?
Well, this is back in 1965. So this is going down a different path. But, in 1965, a woman could not get a loan from a bank for a business without her husband's signature. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but women fought to be able to, this is where they were fighting for equality, and women should be able to go to the bank and get a loan. And it was very difficult for a woman to get a loan. So anyway, she brought in a man into that business, and she ended up losing it. And I don't want to go down all of that, but that was back in 1965. So my mom's always been very political, and she had a print shop to make all kinds of things. It was the very first time anyone could go. It was in Costa Mesa on 17th Street that you could go get a copy of everything back then was like on, what's that called? Carbon paper. Remember? Everything was on carbon paper to make a copy. And so this was the first time you could go out to somewhere and get a copy made for a nickel. It's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. But anyways, she ended up losing that business because of being a woman, basically. And so I think that's always kind of put a little bit of fire in me. And my mother and father were brilliant, and they've always been very encouraging. I mean, I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters, and, we're all pretty successful. We're all alive. Isn't that a great? Mm-hmm. We're very healthy. And, but I think my parents have always put that kind of entrepreneurship in each one of us, and that we're individuals and you can do whatever you want. And so that's kind of how I grew up. The world is our oyster, and anybody has the same opportunity in America to do whatever you want, but you have to put the hard work in. And so I try to tell people, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter where you came from. People want to come to America because they know this is the land of freedom, and this is the land of opportunity. And this is where you could come here with $10 in your pocket and become a billionaire. Where else can you do that?
And then, so I also read that your dad worked in manufacturing, and was that a defense contracting company? Because it said something about building the space station.
Well, actually, he was an aerospace engineer, and people don't know this, but NASA contracts out to like McDonnell Douglas, or they'll go to Boeing, and they'll go to various different companies that will do different parts of it. But my dad actually designed and built the medical laboratory testing in space that's in the space station right now. He's brilliant. I have a picture of that I could probably send to you, and you could pop it up. And when he retired, they sent him a picture from space of the space station. It's still up there right now.
Send it.
My dad always.
Do you have
he's
it?
94.
Do you have it on you?
Yeah, and he'll always say, "Honey, did you watch the space station go over? You know, the space station's going around the Earth every day. You guys can go out. You can watch it from NASA. It's pretty cool."
So,
and
you definitely don't believe in the flat Earth, then? Is that right?
I do not believe in the flat Earth. I'm pretty darn sure it's round, and elephants are not holding it up. So, no, we have a round Earth. It's a very round Earth. God created it, and it's pretty amazing where we live, right? Oh, here it is. Let me send this to you. Message. Sorry about that. I can't walk and chew gum. There it is. And then all of the other engineers signed it. So I just sent that to you. It's pretty cool.
Okay, let me get
So
it
we have a pretty interesting family. You know, we've always been very political. My father and mother have always been involved. My mom actually started what's called the Cynical House. We grew up Catholic, and she always felt like what's missing in the Catholic Church is the Holy Spirit. And so back in the 1960s, she met a young man by the name of Chuck Smith, and Chuck Smith started Calvary Chapel right there in Costa Mesa. But she started the charismatic renewal and the charismatic movement within the Catholic Church that was speaking about the Holy Spirit.
Do you see the picture that is on the screen?
Yes. Isn't that cool?
Okay, just
now,
making sure.
There is the lab. Yep, I can see it. That's pretty cool. You can see all the signatures around there. That's when he retired, and they would always say, they gave him a plaque that says, "We're easily satisfied with the best." Because my father, they said, if you ever want anything to be done, you go to Marvin Seaver because he'll do the best. And there's nothing better than the best. The best is the best there is. And that's my dad. He's known as being the best. So I always encourage everyone, do the best you can all the time. We have to be at our best. Right?
Well, you're very lucky to come from the best family and everybody's still alive. Other people on this earth are not as fortunate whatsoever, but that's good that you are fortunate. So you had this great family that you came from, all from California, and then at some point you moved to the other side of the U.S. And come to Florida. What brought you to Florida?
Well, there are so many rules and regulations coming down through the EPA in California by Nancy Pelosi that it made it impossible to do manufacturing. I mean, look at all of the great exodus that's happening in California.
My bad. So in the story, you started this actually in California.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then let me do this. Let me share this picture again. This is your husband right here, right? This picture.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It's coming through. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
It's taking forever.
And this is back in 1998.
Okay. So tell me about this picture right here, please.
Okay. So in 1998, we had a very successful real estate office, and they all did this thing to go get flu shots, and he actually went and got a flu shot. I did not get it. I don't believe in vaccinations, and I think God created our bodies perfectly and holy, and we don't need all of that stuff in our bodies. So anyways, he got a flu shot, and a few days later he was very sick, and we didn't really connect it to the flu shot right away, and because they will say, oh, well, sometimes you'll get flu symptoms, but the thing is he never got better. He just kept getting worse, and by he got the flu shot in October, and by Thanksgiving of that year in November, he was paralyzed on a respirator for the next 5.5 months and in critical care for a year. So while I was in St. Jude's Medical Center, I literally studied this little thing called the coronavirus. I mean, oddly enough, that's been around forever. If anyone wants to go look, it is known as the common cold. And the reason they call it the corona is because of the way it has little crowns on it, right? But anyway, this was a very traumatic time in our life. We ended up losing everything. I shut down our real estate office. We were just opening a new office here in California. And obviously, during that time, I had a 10-month-old baby. I had a freshman and senior in high school. I had a freshman in college at Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington. And my mom had just died. So it was a pretty traumatic year for me, 1998, 99.
I thought everybody was alive.
Well, my mom died, but the rest of my family is alive. My brothers and sisters and my dad. So there's 5 brothers, 2 sisters. So there's 8 of us. So that's pretty cool that all 8 of us are still alive. But my mom did die. My mother died back in 1998. And so going through this whole ordeal, I really studied vaccinations, viruses, and I started to ask a lot of questions. And I was actually going to Congress and asking about why this is when I found out that pharmaceutical companies are not held liable for anything from a vaccination. They get a free walk, period. And that kind of got me fired up, and I started fighting back. And I did work with the Guillain-Barré people. They would have us write letters and stuff. And so it took a while. It took about 7 years. But now if you go to CVS or you go to Walgreens, anywhere you go to get your flu shot, it will say on there, may cause Guillain-Barré. But we know that it causes Guillain-Barré, but they're not going to give that up, right? The pharmaceutical companies are just not going to say that. And they're not going to, there's no liability.
What does it cause?
Repercussions.
What does it cause?
It may cause Guillain-Barré. So Guillain-Barré, GBS syndrome, you could go look it up, is a polyneuritis ascending paralysis that attacks the central nervous system, and it's usually triggered from like high stress, flu shot, flus, different things can trigger it. I've always said, why aren't we? But we know. So in a Guillain-Barré patient, the myelin sheath breaks open, the axiom of the cell is exposed, and there's no messages because the myelin sheath that surrounds a cell is the messages that tell your body what to do with your red and white blood cells, right? That's exposed. But I always wonder, why aren't we studying Guillain-Barré patients? Because we know that in Guillain-Barré patients, the myelin sheath does heal itself. And that's what causes the paralysis, is the myelin sheath breaking. So for other people that have severe injuries or paralysis, I really think that we should be studying the Guillain-Barré. But that's just my little rabbit hole from studying. No one ever wants to listen to me. But you know what? If I became Congresswoman, I guarantee you, if I started talking to some of these doctors and neurologists and internal medicine doctors, all of a sudden I would have a platform, right? Because then it would be, oh, well, she's Congresswoman. Well, I'm still the same person right now as Christine Quinn, individual, citizen with knowledge, as I would be if I was a Congresswoman. But you don't get any credibility unless you have a title, and then I could do something about it. And so this is really what motivates me to go to Congress so that we can do something. The problem with our congressmen and women today is they don't really, I feel like, get the support, and they feel abandoned. So they're not really getting the support from the other people in our party. And so I think that's why that they back down. I think that's why they kind of become cowards, because they don't want to lose the position. They want to stay in power, but they're not getting the total support they need. And number one, from us as citizens, we have the right to go up there and go to Cannon Hall, knock on the door of your congressmen and women, and talk to them. But the problem is that we're all busy, we're working. And so guess who goes up there? The lobbyists. The lobbyists have figured it out. They can just go to DC. So now they set up camp in DC, and they don't have to fly around the whole world and go to all these different states and counties. They could just go up and camp up there in Washington, DC, and jam down their agenda. Well, that's what we need to be doing as citizens. But anyway, after his illness, we lost everything. Our share of the medical bills were $2.4 million. That was we did have insurance. The insurance wasn't covering the plasmapheresis, which was the treatment, because that was considered experimental. So see how insurance companies can get away with it? Oh, it's experimental. We're not going to cover that. So, we're all paying all this money for insurance companies, and then half the stuff they don't cover. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is it's a big hoax on the American people, because when they go in, like in, say, California, oh, we have to have insurance and we have to have free medical for everyone. Do you know, in California and all across the state, they have emergency medical care, right? If you have an injury or anything happens and you go to a hospital, they are not going to turn you away. In fact, they have tons of programs that will help you make smaller payments, and the cost is much less. But if you go through your insurance, you have your deductible, and it ends up costing a lot more.
Yeah, but isn't that like a liberal?
Sense.
Isn't that like a liberal policy?
Yeah, charge the American people more, keep me in power, we'll give you this free food stamps, we'll give you the crumbs, and make you feel like you need us.
Mhm.
We need less government. We need to get rid of the government. I mean, truly, what has the federal government done for you lately? I love that song. What's it done for you lately? I mean, what are they doing for us that's actually making our life better? The only person that came through that office that made my life better was a man by the name of Donald J. Trump. Under his leadership and with all the pushback that man got, could you imagine, just imagine a world where Donald Trump comes in and everyone got behind him, how powerful America would be right now. We wouldn't be paying $5 at the pump. The pipeline wouldn't be shut down. We wouldn't be having a meat maybe crisis that they're going to, inflate and make this an issue. We don't have problems in America. We have political problems. The people are working. We have farms. We have dairies. We have cows. We have the meat that we need. And then all of a sudden we're going to have a meat shortage? How does that work? Right?
Can you tell me more about the story, please?
Oh, yeah, how we started. Okay, so after we lost everything, we literally were living at extended stay America. My credit, this is how I tell everyone, protect your credit. But, when you're trying to save your husband and you're saving a loved one, you're not worried about everything else. I mean, everything's going down the tube. I sold all my jewelry. I sold anything that had a value. We were hawking it and pawning it and having garage sales just to get food. We literally did not get food, diapers, cheese. I didn't qualify because they go by your income tax return. So we didn't qualify for any of that. Anyway, it was a very tumultuous time, to say the least. And so I just went back to work. My husband never fully recovered and he never went back to work. And so I was a realtor and I started selling real estate, but I literally started cleaning houses for my sister. I had kids in college. I had kids in school. I had a baby. And so I did whatever it took to put food on the table and save money. I tell everybody, if you want to be truly rich, these are the three things you need. Save a little, spend a little, and give a little. So if you give 10% off the top to God, you will never have a financial problem in your life ever. You need to give 10% of your income and learn that giving is going to come back to you tenfold. You want to save a little bit. So if you want to go on a trip, you start saving now to go on a trip next summer. And then spend a little because you work hard and you want some reward for what you do. You can't just work and not get a reward for that. So spend a little on yourself. Buy yourself a nice piece of jewelry or a purse or whatever, but take care of yourself and feel good about the work you're doing. So spend a little, save a little, give a little, and learn to live on 70%. But now the government's taking in like 40%. So it's making it very difficult, right? Anyway, that was my philosophy. So I just started putting money away. I continued to tithe. I felt like the Holy Spirit just kind of came upon me and gave me a little bit of grace, even though I was very angry and fighting very hard to keep my family going. But I kept my kids in school. They all graduated from college. My son's 22 now and going to college. But during that time, it was very difficult. And then by 2004, I actually saved enough money that we could get a down payment on a brand new house in Oceanside, California. So we buy this house, and it was kind of a lottery. So I felt like God really blessed us on getting in there. And I always have a New Year's Eve party every year, and my family will come if they want. If they don't come, but I'll cook an 18-pound prime rib. It's been a family tradition. And so I cooked this 18-pound prime rib, and I'm talking to my new neighbors that are my friends. And I'm like, Lynn, I have an 18-pound prime rib, and nobody wants to come to the party. Nobody wants to drive down here because we're from Orange County, and they didn't want to have to go through Camp Pendleton or whatever. And she's like, oh, now all the rest of the neighbors are coming out. And they're like, well, let's just have a party at Lynn's house. So we kind of had a 2005 New Year's Eve party at my friend Lynn's house, and I took the prime rib over there, and all the men are like, damn, this is good. You should just market and sell that. And I was kind of telling the story of what I just told you, how my husband got sick, and how for Christmas every year, I would make batches of it, put in a little baggie, and then just put Merry Christmas from the Quinns and give it to our friends and clients. Well, he was literally dying. He was on a respirator. He was comatose, and people are calling me for the recipe. And so I'm telling this story on New Year's Eve. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to give you the recipe. It's a secret family recipe. No, I'm not making batches. I mean, we don't know if he's going to live or die. And so all the guys were like going, well, you should just market and sell it. And so I'm drinking a couple glasses of wine and I'm like, okay, and we're toasting. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sell it. And I kept just saying my family seasonings because it was my mom's family recipe. So to my family seasonings. And so after New Year's Eve, a couple of days later, my friends are, so did you do it? Did you do it? And I'm like, do what? Market and sell your seasoning. Because apparently I said I'm going to do it a lot. So I did. I went inside and I thought, okay, I'm going to make a few phone calls. Now, the internet was not in 2005 what it is today. It didn't have quite the same amount of information, but I did go on and try to find some information about food and grocery store, which I found zero. And so I made some phone calls. I called Ralph's, Albertsons, and Safeway. And do you know that all three of those buyers called me back? And the one guy from Ralph's grocery store, David Bill, he says, well, I just like the enthusiasm in your voice. When do you want to come in? And I said, well, when will you have me? And he said, well, I could hear him flipping through the pages and goes, well, how about the 27th? And I'm like, January? And he goes, yes. And I said, okay, okay, great. And he said, well, by the way, what's the name of your company? And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, I don't have a company. So I just blurt out my family seasonings. And he goes, great name. See you on the 27th. So I call my dad and I'm like, oh my God, Dad, it's going to be great. I need your help. And so I go in and I literally have no idea about the grocery store industry at all. I don't know anything. So I just cooked a prime rib, a little 8-pound prime rib. I made some au jus. I brought some horseradish and I went there and I got all dressed up and sat in his little office. And the guy comes out and says, little lady, you have 5 minutes to set up, 5 minutes to pitch it, and 5 minutes to get the hell out of my office. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now my hair is like gone straight. You know, I try to roll it and I'm super nervous. So I go in, I set it up and he comes in and he says, okay, so tell me about your company. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have a company. How about if you just taste I didn't say that to him. I'm thinking in my head, I don't have a company, right? And I go, how about if I cut you a slice of prime rib and you tell me about my seasoning? And he goes, okay, fair enough. So I sliced him some prime rib. He took a bite, and I'm telling you, it was the longest 30 seconds of my life. He leans back in his chair. He opens up this sliding glass door, and he calls in these 4 other guys. 4.5 hours later, those 5 guys told me everything I needed to know to bring it to market. One of the guys said, hey, if I would have had this seasoning 5 years ago, I would still be in business with my restaurant. So I was so encouraged. And they literally told me, what is a tie high? Does anyone know what a tie high is? Do you know what a tie high is?
No, I do not.
I had no idea what that was. No. So a tie high is a pallet configuration. So a pallet is 48 by 40. A tie is how many cases of your product will go on there. And then how many levels you're going to have. So my tie high, I have 8 across and 9 back. And then, so 8 times 9 is 72 cases times 5 high. That's my tie high. And that's how it goes through shipping. So now I had to learn all about logistics and distribution. I didn't know any of this stuff. They told me how to get my UPC code. So people out there listening, don't buy your UPC code from someone else. You can go straight on and get a UPC code yourself. You just pop something up, tie high. Oh, there it is. That's a tie high. Well, that was not on the internet in 2005, let me tell you. And so, yeah, there is your configuration, and that's how you would sell it, and that's how it moves through the system. And also, you have to have a case UPC, you have to have a unit UPC, you have to have all your packaging has to have nutritional information. So my sister, actually, Kathy Seaver, called me up, and she goes, hey, Chris, they're having this spice thing over here in, I think it was in the city of Compton. So anyway, I signed up for it. I went to it and I learned everything I needed to know about spices. I didn't realize that spices were all graded, that you have better spices and where you're getting them from, how they pick them, how they harvest them, how they package them. So there's a big deal in spices. So I decided, well, if you want to make the best prime rib, you want the best spices on there. So I pay premium price so that in my seasonings, you get the best spices that are on the market. And that's why in my spices, they have a forever shelf life and their flavoring pops out because they're always fresh. But then I call my dad and I'm like, hey, Dad, we're going to be rich again. Of course, he just laughs at me whenever I say that. And I said, but I need you to make me a machine. I need you. This is what I needed to do. And I'm showing him, what I want. And he's like, no, honey, we'll just do that in a one plate so that it will go in. The seasonings will drop out. They'll drop down below. It will be a one-time step. So my dad actually built the machine that we are still using today. We did just recently get a new plate made for it. And that's a 1.5 inch thick stainless steel food grade plate. So it's kind of neat. Oh my gosh, those pictures are great. My daughter does a great job. So this truly is a family business. So my dad made the machine. But before I left there from Ralph's, those guys ordered 20,000 units and told me that they needed them by June 1st. Now, mind you, this is January 27th, and they want it by June 1st, and I don't even have a company. So from January 27th to March 1st, I incorporated. I found my UPC code. I found packaging companies. I found a designer. I told her what I wanted, designed my packaging, went over and had the packaging was actually made in Riverside. So it was kind of nice because everything was there in Southern California. And my husband came up with the idea of how to get the precise measurement because my dad couldn't get the machine built in time. So we literally sat there and hand packed 20,000 packages and got it all done. And then I called him up. So this is where the story gets good because that sounds like, oh, we're going to be rich and everything's going to be great. Well, in order for me to get that money, mind you, we've only lived in that house for 1 year. I take a mortgage out on that house to finance buying all the product, right? And buying the spices. So I thought, well, this will be great. And it was the worst loan in the world. But I thought, well, I'm going to get all that money back. I'm going to sell it June 1st. They're going to pay me in 30 days. I'll pay it off. Life is good. I really didn't even think further than that we would actually be getting people are going to reorder. I was just focused on let's get this thing up and running and let's get this order out. And I forgot the fact that actually now people are going to buy more. So anyway, we get it done and I call them up. I call up Ralph's, it's in Compton, and I asked to speak with David Bill. And the lady says, oh, David Bill doesn't work here anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean he doesn't work here anymore? And she said, well, Kroger bought out Ralph's and all those people went to like different, they just left. They weren't there anymore. And she goes, well, don't worry, honey. What was your PO number? And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't even get a PO. I just got, everything was on emails and going back and forth and them seeing the packaging. I didn't have a PO. And she goes, well, then you're going to need to talk to this guy. So she puts me through to this guy and he doesn't know anything about it. And he says, well, you're going to have to go up to Ohio because that's where everything happens. So of course my heart drops. I'm devastated. I'm thinking, oh my God, we don't have a pot to piss in or window to throw it out of now. I needed that product to sell and the money to come in so I can keep my family going. So it's a little bit, taken back by that. And my daughter calls me, I'm, of course, talking to my family. And she goes, Mom, they've got these little things over at Target. And you could just plug it into your car and you should just make some prime rib and then just go around to the grocery stores and try to sell it. So I loaded up my little minivan. And I'll tell you a funny story too that happened. And I cooked prime ribs. I went to Dollar Tree. I got the little to go. I sliced it up. And I literally knocked on every meat market there was in San Diego County. And I would go in to the meat counter and say, hey, Robbie, I'm Christine with My Family Seasonings. Hey, would you try my prime rib seasoning? Because we found out that the meat department can make their own decisions and bring your product in. Whereas going through grocery, like we were with Ralph's, it has to go through schematics. It has to go through corporate. It's a long, drawn out process, right? So going to the meat department, I could say, Robbie, if you liked it, you could put it right on the shelves. So the guys are like, oh yeah, this is great. This is really good. In fact, Jimbo's, I think the guy thought I was just like freaking hilarious. I went in there with my daughter. We have these little aprons on and we're walking in with cooked prime ribs, I think he bought it out of pity. We're still in that store today. But we went to all of these stores and I would go, and by the way, can you pay me? Because I found out grocery stores can actually pay you right then and there. So I sold like 15,000 cases over the next 6 months. And I'm telling you, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I truly believe that if I would have just gone into Ralph's, I would have been one and done. I didn't know what I was doing. I did not understand how distribution works. I didn't understand how grocery stores work. But by going to each one of these grocery stores, and like, Robbie, if you were the meat manager, you knew I was raw. You knew I didn't know anything. These meat managers would say, hey, well, you should do this. Oh, why don't you try this? Hey, I got a buddy down here. Why don't you call him? And they literally set me up. They would tell me, oh, yeah, go to this guy in LA. And so I would. And he would say, sure enough, that guy called him. And I would get it in the product. So we grew it over the next 2 years from nothing to being a multi-million-dollar company, just like that. I mean, but it was hard work. I had to cook prime ribs. I was going in constantly. Hey, will you try my prime rib seasoning? And telling my story. And they would buy it and put it on the shelves. And we are still in every one of those stores today. So really, truly, you do have to build your base. You have to build that foundation. And if I would have just gone in Ralph's like that, I would have been one and done. I would have mortgaged my house. I would have bought all this stuff, and I would have been scrambling to figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. Because I thought that was going to be it. So my advice always to entrepreneurs is start small, build your foundation, and grow it, grow it, grow it. And then you will build relationships. And I have relationships with all my buyers still today. I mean, we went into Central Markets in Texas. And that was in February. I was on their on a TV show in San Antonio, Texas on the 14th of February. So not even 3 months later. I didn't even have product to sell to them. I just cooked a prime rib, showed them what I wanted my packaging to look like. I didn't even have the packaging. And then I told them it wouldn't be available until June. And they bought it. And by June, we had it. And I would ship it. And that's one of my top stores right now, is Central Markets. And then we got into all the HEBs, which is equivalent to the Publix here. They're everywhere. Hubert H. Butts is a huge grocery store. And then we grew that. And I got into Molly Stone's, Andronico's, Safeway, Lucky's stores, all up in San Francisco Bay Area. Started just going into Oregon, going up to Washington, getting in all the stores, Super One. Oh my gosh, we're in so many grocery stores across the nation. I can't even name them all anymore. But it just took me loading up my little minivan and driving to each one of these stores, taking in my cases and saying, hey, will you try it? Will you buy it? Will you put it on your shelf? This is what I'll do for you. And then I started going back and doing demos by myself in each one of these stores. I said, I'll come in, I'll do a demo. And then people got to taste the product. And then here we are 17 years later. And we're in the top 10 grocery stores in the nation. And that, my friend, is a success story. And we didn't come rich overnight, because people think, oh, well, you sold $1 million worth. Yeah. But then I had to put the money back in. And then I had to sell another million of it. And then I had to put that money back in, because as you grow, you're putting the money back into your company. So it wasn't like, vaha, we're rich, like I thought it was going to be. This has been a long battle. But I wanted to have residual income. And I figured if I worked really hard for 10 years, then I could grow it so it would just sell itself. And that was my objective. And that's what I did. And over those next 10 years, I mean, if I had to clean the toilets at my office, I did. If I had to help those guys in the back, I did. I can jump on that machine and do 13 bags a minute. That's pretty good at my age, right? And I will. If I need to get on there and we have to get an order out, I'm on that machine. I have no problem getting on there. And sometimes I feel it's almost therapeutic. It's kind of tranquil. And I'm working with my employees. They all get to know me. They know I'm a hard worker. And I think that they see me as just a real person that I am, right? And I just get back there and work with them. And I try to encourage my employees all the time. I've helped I've helped 5 of my employees graduate from high school, get their GED, go on. One of my girls got a nursing degree. Another one got a marketing degree. One of my guys is now working I think he's working in a big factory and moved up as a manager. And this kid was just like 20 years old with no experience. So they see me work hard. They know they can do it. And I think sometimes people just need a little bit of encouragement. Let's get you out of the pit. You can't be pitiful and powerful. I can help you out of the pit, but it's hard work to be powerful. And that's kind of my story. And here we are today in Florida.
Yes. There's a lot of that you said that I totally I feel the same way because I'm an entrepreneur. So all those things I do too. And I understand exactly where you're coming from. But okay, so talk to me about this machine that your dad helped you build. He helped you build the machine?
He actually built it with some other engineers and they welded it. I still have it. I was going to look and see if I had a picture of it in my phone. But I think I do.
By the way, my mom worked for Raytheon. And so I understand, about that, that whole, the manufacturing end of it and all that stuff. So,
here, I'm going to, when COVID hit, it's really interesting. So I'm going to send you, I didn't want to fire any of my people. And so we just kept them working. I'm going to send you some photos. Racking systems for the pallet racking system, they're orange. So they're kind of ugly. And where I'm going to send you these. So when COVID hit, I didn't want to let anybody go. And I have these, I just sent it to you. I have some really beautiful blue epoxy floors. My warehouse is gorgeous. And so I said to my guys, well, they didn't want to not work. And I go, well, let's paint these racks. Let's get up there on the forklift and let's get up there. And I mean, those guys were putting me up on the forklift and I'd climb up to the back and spray paint the back of it. And then they'd bring me down on the forklift to the next level. Check them out. It looks cool. So they were orange and we painted them all blue. I kept everybody working. We did whatever we can. We cleaned, we invoiced or inventoried. I kept everybody going. And then, because we all thought, oh, this is going to only last for 6 weeks, right? And then it's another 6 weeks, and it's another 6 weeks. And, we lost a lot of orders. So that's the finished product. Doesn't that look great? Look at my beautiful floor.
So wait a second. So I was asking about the machine, though, that your dad helped you build, right?
You know what? Yeah, there's none in here. Well, it's proprietary. But my dad built this machine. That's what I was looking for. I'm so sorry. So basically it is, it's got a, I don't know what we would call it. I wish I had a picture of it.
And the reason why I asked that is because I was telling you that my mom worked for Raytheon, so I'm familiar with defense contractor stuff and engineering and engineers, being around engineers. Yeah. So I was trying to build rapport with you by sharing that with you. I don't know if you got that.
It's so cool.
So I think that I think that's pretty crazy. So your dad has that kind of mind and he helped you. He helped you, build that machine. That's that's great. It's awesome to have
efficient.
That. Yeah.
It just goes, there's a big plate. The plate has the different holes which are the exact amount of the ingredients. And then there's like a hopper on top of it. And the hopper has dividers. So all the different spices go into the hoppers. And then the plate, so it's really very simple. It's literally a sewing machine pedal on the bottom and a little 2-amp engine that there's a belt that goes around and it pulls it in and pulls it out. So the plate goes in, the spices drop in, and then it pushes it out. And there's like a funnel underneath it, and you put the bag under the funnel. So it comes in and it drops into the that date coats it and puts our code on there. So we have a 2-hour rapid recall is one of the compliances. So when the products come in the back door, everything has to get logged in and everything comes in with the code on it. And then that code gets put into, so we know the exact ingredients in every bag, where they came from. And at any moment in time, let's just say my supplier called and said, oh, the garlic is tainted. I could just pull that lot number of that garlic and I don't have to pull all the rest of it. So we know where all of our product is at any given time. It's all lot code number. So it's pretty cool. We have a pretty good system. I mean, it took me a while to get there. We didn't have all those regulations when we started. We do have them now. It's really sad. When I started, my insurance, everything was, well, the first year was like only $500. And then it kind of went up a little bit over time just because we were doing more volume and our insurance went up. But now it costs me about $32,000 a year in compliances and all of the fees that we pay. It's ridiculous. And it's just all another form of tax, right? I mean,
yeah, I heard you, talking about the insurance industry before. The insurance industry, another thing I did at one point, I had an insurance agency at one point. It is a total scam. It is, absolutely.
It's a scam. Because what do they do for us? What are they providing for us? Every time I have a claim, I have a deduction or that's not covered. I mean, it's supposed to be there for our protection in case of, I guess, a huge disaster. But if I look over 17 years that I've only made one claim, that's because the roof leaked and it ruined about $8,000-9,000 worth of product. And then I still had a deductible. But you know what? The next year, my premium went up. They made that $8,000 back in my next year's premium. So how did that benefit me? It didn't.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel concerned about politics ruining the brand of your business?
No, because I think that what we saw when I was with you on the boat for Trumparilla, I think that a lot of patriots believed in Trump. I think that they still believe in Trump. And I think even those that didn't believe in Trump are now seeing the effects of not believing in him. And I think that people secretly, I would rather get 100% of all of my true patrons buying my product and going to the store. But at the end of the day, I don't even think people know. I truly don't think people care.
I know, but it's like, oh my God, it's another brand that it starts with a my. Just like My Pillow. Oh my God.
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
I didn't put that connection together until just now. But see, I'm just saying, do you ever worry about that, because you're on there and people get demonized, groups get demonized. They tend to call people that are right leaning, they label them as like Nazis or stuff like that. And there's all these doxing going on and stuff. So do you ever worry about that? Tipping over into this legitimate brand that you built, I do. I worry about that for myself, but I think it's kind of, I can't get around it now at this point, but.
Well, here's the thing. At some point you have to trust somebody. And so you might as well trust God. And I really feel that God's covering is over me. I feel like when I start getting stressed out and I was, you do worry as you are an entrepreneur. I pay all the bills. I cover everything, right? It all comes from
your husband still like this?
No, we're divorced. So that's my ex-husband, but you didn't hear me say that. We got divorced 12 years ago. He never really got better fully, but it just mentally, it just became a problem. And so I don't really talk about that too much. But we finally, I really kind of turned my life over to the Lord during that time. I was always a Christian. I always believed in God. I went to church, but truly I felt like I did not have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I knew this guy named Jesus. I went to church. I know scripture. My mother drilled it into us. But I think when you lose everything, and we lost everything, it just brought me to my knees. I really turned my life over to the Lord, and I'm like, okay, God, what do you want? And I really want to be a messenger for Christ because he wants us to live in the fullness. John 10:10, the evil one comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I come to give you life abundantly, overflowing. The message of Christ is love, peace, happiness. He wants us to be fulfilled all the way. And I always tell people, when Jesus died on the cross, he says, I bestow upon you peace. My peace I give unto you. If you bestow something to somebody, you give that to them freely, and what they do with it is up to them, but you give it to them and they have it. So we don't have to pray for peace. We need to start walking in peace. We need to walk in love. It's a very simple message. And even, I'm not holier than thou. I have a very bad temper. I was very distressed over this weekend, and you have a. I go.
You do. You have a bad temper.
I do have a bad temper.
Oh my God, I do too. I do too. Oh my God. But I have it under control, I think, a little bit better. After years of like managing people and stuff,
Yes.
was it very difficult to figure out how to manage people like at first?
Yeah, because we owned a real estate office, and so I used to call it adult daycare. And so I'm pretty used to managing people, and I'm used to like having things done in a very meticulous, organized way. And so I think that kept me very sound. But yeah, if people don't follow that, I would just go off. Like, you know what? How many times do I have to tell you this is what you need to do? Right? And then you just get so frustrated. And I'm like, okay, well, then I'll just do it myself. Forget it. I don't even need you. Why am I even paying you? And I have a rule in my office is that if anyone's causing stress, any kind of strife, they're the first to go. I don't care if they've been with me 10 years and they're the best worker I have. If they start causing strife with the other workers and there's a problem in the warehouse, that person goes. I just walk out and give them a check now. I don't even argue anymore. I think, we do mellow as we get older. And so I definitely have mellowed out a little bit. But I think for me right now, I go straight to the Lord. Like my temper went off. I was very upset over this weekend and a lot of bad things happened. And I just feel like, what's the point? Nobody's listening. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to tell their story. But at the end of the day, you guys, we need to put our boots on, roll up our sleeves and get busy. We need to, right. And we're going to lose all this freedom. We live in the greatest country in the world, and it's very disheartening to hear everybody complain. You can't whine and complain and whimper and pour me and pour this and pour that. Stop it. Put your boots on. Get to work. Good work will pay off. And if we, as Republicans, need to lock arms, what I get discouraged in the whole politics stuff is that I truly am not a politician. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. I love my little grandbabies. I wonder if I have cute little pictures of them. I don't. But, oh, yes, look at this. Here's this. I love to volunteer. I always tell everybody, if you get depressed or you're feeling distraught, go volunteer. There's always someone who could use your help. And you never know who you're going to meet. Because I volunteer a ton of stuff. Go out there and help people. And I meet people that have no idea who I am. They tell me their story, and then I can connect them to somebody else. So you never know who you're going to meet, right? Because they don't know the people that I know that could possibly help them. So if you're depressed, you're feeling, despondent, we really need to be outside. We should not be inside. We need to be outside. Go help people. Go mow the lawn for your next door neighbor if they can't do it, for crying out loud. My parents used to make me do that, and I had to push a lawnmower. The little ones that were going around? You had to push them? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to go and do that for a quarter. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. We can do that. I don't know if you can see this picture, but there's my little grandbabies. Oh, well, I'll get it at a better angle. Nice. Can you see it? Kind of?
Yes.
Right there. So there's my little grandbabies. I'm missing one of them in there. She's here. She wasn't in that picture. And then my grandson. But, it's all about these children. It really, truly is. When I say this is about the posterity of America, I mean it. I'm not just saying that. Those aren't just words to me. I'm going to fight for freedom until you're going to have to kill me, because I'm going to go down in blazes. We're going to fight for this country. And if that means that I have to get dirty, I have to go against Kathy Castor. I mean, everybody is so negative. Christine, it's a locked county. That's Kathy Castor's, the GOP. Well, we just give that to her so that we can have the other counties. And I have to say, bullshit. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That pisses me off. You're just going to give it to her? That little girl got that seat 3 times. She ran unopposed because the GOP, the RPOF, and the damn Republican Party doesn't want to put somebody in there. You know what? At best, they should want me to run to make her spend her money, spend her treasure chest here in Hillsborough, so she's not out in Tennessee and Georgia spending her money. They should be behind me because, number one, I'm a woman. Number two, I'm a businesswoman. And number 3, I know what the hell I'm talking about. I always say I'm the female Donald Trump because I'm going to get my butt up there and do work. I'm going to read those bills. I'm going to go through and redline. Nope, we don't need this. We don't need that. Because at the end of the day, the truth is this. We don't need any new laws. We need to enforce the laws we have. We don't need any new immigration reform, immigration bullshit. We already have immigration laws. I don't know why people don't understand that. Very simple. If you look at Obama, he talked about it. You look at all the former presidents. We already have the laws. What are we doing? Let's support our guys on the border. Let's support ICE. Let's support our men in blue, our men in green, because those are our sheriffs, right? Let's support our military. That's going to keep us safe all around the world. Let's give them the money and the tools and the equipment that they need to protect me. Because at the end of the day, you men better step up to the plate, be protecting us women and children. It's not my job to protect you. It's your job to protect me. That's what I want. This whole gender identity nonsense. It's nonsense. There's two sexes, people, two. There's a male and a female. I'm pretty sure Robbie is a male, and I know for sure I'm a female. And I love being a female. I love for men to open the door for me. I love being a woman. Why aren't we teaching our girls to be women and our boys to be men and supporting them? You know, I was the biggest tomboy. I had 5 brothers. I swear they tried to drown me every day in the pool. I think I became a champion swimmer to get away from my brothers, right? And but never once did I think, oh, I should be a boy. Never once. It didn't occur to me. But when I was, 10, 11, 12, my brothers are getting bigger, my mom would say, boys, leave your sister alone. Boys, quit tackling your sister. Because the boys now had testosterone. The boys, my brothers, were getting bigger and tougher and stronger. They were just stronger. When we were under 10, I could hold my own and fight my brothers off, right? I could outrun them. I could fight them. After that, those boys became boys that were built different. They were stronger and they could take me down. No matter what I did, they could still take me down.
Christine, right? Yes, they could. Now, Christine, what was it about this past weekend? Now, let me play another of these. See, what got you so infuriated about this weekend?
Well, it wasn't that the rally was great. The Trump parade, that was good. It was great to see the patrons. That was fun. That was not what got me. It was the event prior that we went to. And I really don't want to talk about it right here.
What is that sound that I keep hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my bracelet. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to show you this other picture. So this is what My Family Seasonings does. So My Family Seasonings, I'm trying not to get the blare on it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. These are our wounded warriors, our veterans. I'm moving it over. And that's me in the red coat. And those are our veterans. The 2 in the blue are ski instructors. So our product is found in all the commissaries around the whole world. So we're a little international. And My Family Seasonings has been supporting our wounded warriors and our veterans to be able to go skiing and do some other products. I feel like my hair is up. And every year. And about 4 years ago, I thought, well, I want to go skiing with them. I want to go meet these guys. You can always throw money at the problem, but I think it's better to be a part of it. So I went to Steamboat, Colorado, and helped sponsor 5 guys that they would get all their adaptive sports equipment and get lessons and they could go skiing. And it was so great to be with these veterans. And let me just tell you, they were so happy. They were so funny. These are guys that have lost both their limbs and they want to get back in the tank and do it again, but the government won't let them because they don't have legs, And so they get out there and they get to ski. And I know this program saves lives. It makes them feel like they're doing what they did before they were wounded. And it was just a wonderful experience. Well, one thing that I noticed from that was this. It takes a lot if you're in a wheelchair. We got to take you from your room down to get fitted from the hotel room, right? And then get fitted for the equipment, get everybody over to get something to eat, then get everybody on the slope, and then get everybody off the slope and go have lunch. And then at dinner, we got to get everybody back onto a bus, take them back to the hotel, go up, change, come back down, get them back on a bus to go eat, right? I don't know if you know people that are lost limbs or in our wheelchairs. It's exhausting. It's a lot of hard work. So I came up with a great idea. And I said, how about next year, I find a hotel where we can go and I'll cook dinner for our veterans. And I have my seasonings and everything, and I got a couple guys to volunteer and help me. And so the next year we found a hotel where we could use their kitchen. They had a barbecue. It was freezing cold, but it was so nice because we got to get off the slope. They went up, they got changed, put on their sweats, came down into the lobby. We played left, right, center. We played some other card games, and everybody, it was a lot of camaraderie. There's about 40 guys there. And there's a lot of other big sponsors that help it, not just me. And it was so nice. And then I got to know them. Now I'm friends with all my veterans if they're watching because they follow me on Facebook. And these guys would do it again. And that's what it's all about. It's all about that these guys sacrifice their lives for our freedom. And then we got Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and Fauci that are destroying our country. And these guys gave their legs for it. They gave their arms for it. And they would go do it again. They'd do it again. What's wrong with our country? Mm-hmm. Something is seriously wrong. And for me, it starts in the school system. And I really feel like I got to go to Washington, D.C. and fix it. I need to go talk to some of these other congressmen, the Democrats, and say, really, guys, this is really what you want? Is this, because I just can't imagine that they get up in the morning and think this is a good idea.
So,
right?
No. So we met this past weekend over at what is that build? Was that a Trumparilla? Was that an actual Trumparilla event, or was that just like a flotilla or something? I don't know, but it's one of these major Trump flotillas. Now I heard from a lot of what was the name of the ship that we were on? Do you remember? Something about Princess.
That princess, yeah, something Princess, yeah,
something
Diana
Princess.
Put that together. Yeah, something, I don't know. We could probably look on the back of that boat picture.
And that was put on, that was put on by a lovely lady, and it was right after the women's fighting for freedom rally. There's a pretty big rally the day before. And so, but we don't have to talk about what you're alluding to before. That's probably inside baseball stuff. But the truth is, though, at this thing, they said that a lot of people were saying that it seemed like less people were there, Yeah,
there were less people. And this is what bothers me. So we're all in this together. Guys, there ain't no place else to go. This is it. And America is the greatest country. I don't care what anyone says. And we're probably singing to the choir, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But when we have Republicans that are going after other Republicans for power, so I guess, there wasn't a big turnout for this because somebody wanted to get credit for it and somebody else had a different vote. And they wanted to be the lead vote. And then I don't even know all the details. Truly, I don't know. And I really don't care. But put your ego aside. Who cares? Get out on the water and have fun. Have a drink, relax, enjoy life. We were out there. And so I think it deterred a lot of people from coming. And we need to stop that. We need to stop the infighting. And then the other thing that I saw even at that other rally is that everybody was there for themselves. I can sit here with you right now, one-on-one, and tell you my story. It's not really just about me. It's the entrepreneur. Only in America could a woman do that. We lost everything. And I put my boots on. I didn't cry. I got back to work and I built it back. And some of my girlfriends would ask me, hey, Christine, oh my God, how can you be so happy? And I said, well, what else am I going to be? It's a choice. You can choose to be happy or you choose to be miserable.
I
choose to be happy.
You're such a type A personality.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Right?
Yeah. When's your birthday? Are you like a fire sign? Are you what's your astrological sign?
What's June 30th?
What's that?
June Cancer. Moon
Cancer.
child.
Oh, okay.
I'm a moon child, baby. But I'm the 6th of 8. But at the end of the day, you know what it really is? It's just God's covering. I just love the Lord. I feel like Jesus is always there for us at any moment, at any time. We can stop what we're doing. We can change that bad attitude. Just say, Jesus, please forgive me. I think, a lot of us lose sight of that. So like I really went off and got off on my friend this weekend, and I shouldn't have. I think I just kind of had a meltdown. I'm just tired of all the BS. And I was like, well, gosh, if no one's going to help me and I just have to do it all myself, then why do I pay people? I'll just do it myself. I built my company by myself. I'll just do it by myself. I'm having a little pity party, right? We all go through it. I'm human. I have emotions. But at the end of the day, we're all in it together, and I shouldn't have done that. And immediately it was like, okay, reel it back in, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I didn't have the right to speak that way. I didn't have the right to go off that way at all. It wasn't fair to the recipients at the other end of my wrath of Christine, right? And immediately you just ask for forgiveness, because what are they going to say? And the choice is theirs. They can forgive you or not and be mad at you forever. Or they can just say, okay, Christine, chill out. Mm-hmm. But if we just go to somebody and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong and I shouldn't have done that, and ask for forgiveness, then you can move on.
I do that. I do that too. They used to call it doing the rob, where I would, if I did something messed up, I would admit all guilt. But here's the thing though. When you do that though, and one of my friends told me this later on, and I learned this, I would do that all the time. But then he goes, hey, Rob, listen, you know what? If you do that though, you have to actually not do it again. So now I say, yes, I say, I'm sorry. I did this. I messed up, and you know what? I apologize, but I'm not going to do it again. All right. I'm not going to do it again.
I try. I'm really so much better than I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was like, it's Christine's way or the highway, basically, and you can't live life like that. You got to have a compromise. But I think when I'm so focused, my whole goal was, let's get my family seasonings up and running, and not anything that got in my lane was going to get run over. Right. So stay in your lane. I have to stay in my lane. Yes. Get out of my lane. But at the end of the day, we have to laugh at ourselves. We're all just human. We're in it together. There ain't nothing else. So let's try to get along and play nice in the sandbox, right?
Amen. And I am a Catholic, lifelong Catholic. I went to Catholic school my whole life. Now, and so your mom was a Catholic. You guys were raised as Catholic, but then your mom
Catholics, yeah.
went over to another form of Christianity. Is that right?
No. We were raised Catholic. All my kids went to Gonzaga University. We went to church regularly. I was a youth group leader. We were solid. But
what did she do to bring the Holy Spirit into it more?
She started the charismatic movement. So have you heard of the Orange County Charismatic Movement? It's actually here on the East Coast, started in California. You can look it up. That's the Catholic Church Charismatic, where they'd have the charismatic mass at 6:00 on Sunday night. And she also was instrumental in bringing music, getting rid of the organ and bringing bands. She saw that the future would be music and getting to the young people. So she would bring have brought music into the Catholic Church. She was very instrumental in a lot of things that changed how we go to church today. And the music, I mean, really, she was. Father Michael Manning had a broadcast, Father John, Father Bob. She was really involved with a lot. We got to meet the Pope back in, I think, the 78 that's graduated 76. When did he come to LA? I can't even remember. But
that was Pope John Paul II?
Yeah, 74, 75, 76, somewhere in there, 75 to 78. I don't remember. I didn't really. I mean, I went to church, and Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed is thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and to the hour of our death. Amen.
Amen. And then,
what do you say? What do you say to Christians who say that Catholics worship Mary or worship the saints?
No. So, Robbie, if I said, Robbie, would you pray for me? Would you pray for me? What would you say?
No, go pray to God.
No, you would say, yes, Christine, let's pray together. I'm with you, sister. You would pray with me, right?
Yes.
So if we know that when we died, and we know that Jesus rose again from the dead, right? And he's now alive in heaven, and we know Mary is in heaven. So what difference does it make? We do not fight principalities of flesh and blood, but the unseen world, right? So what difference is it if there's principalities right now? Well, they're not in my home because I pray a hedge of thorns around my home every night for God's protection. I rebuke the demonic spirits from coming in, and I ask for covering and protection every single day. So I know that the Holy Spirit is with me. I know that the angels are surrounding me. God said, and Jesus reiterated, that he sends his legion of angels. A legion is thousands of angels, and you can call upon them at any time. See, as Christians, we don't realize the power that we have through the Holy Spirit. Well, that's what Jesus told him. I'm going to give you something better than me. I'm going to give you the gift of the Holy Spirit, and that Holy Spirit's going to guide you through life. And we get away from that because we get caught up in the day-to-day. We get caught up in materialistic stuff. I think the best thing that happened with COVID is that, what are things? Family is way more important. We don't need all the things that we have. Let's get outside. It's free to go to the park, go to the beach. We worry about, I need this and I need that. And what really gets me mad is that I worked really hard to be able to buy like Louis Vuitton and buy some nice things. And to see these guys just loot and then go and steal it and then walk around with all these things that they didn't work for or deserve, that agitates me. Go work. I worked for that stuff. You guys didn't work, and it's not fair that you're going to go knock down stores and burn down stores, and then they're going to call January 6th an insurrection, and we're the terrorists when they're burning down Oregon, they're burning down LA, they're burning down other cities. They've destroyed New York. But really, at the end of the day, God is not scratching his head. He's not up there thinking, oh my God, what is happening on earth? What are these humans doing? No, God's totally in control, and he says, come to me. Come to me, I'll help you. All you guys have to do is turn from your wicked ways and come to me, right? Mm-hmm. I was telling earlier, John 10:10, the evil one comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I come to give you life abundantly overflowing. And then in John 14, he says, the only way that you can come to know my Father is through me, right? And then the next sentence says, I set before you life and death. Choose life. Let's just choose life. Let's just choose to help everyone choose life. Let's get away from abortion. I mean, I don't know how in the heck the Catholic Church can say that abortion is okay now. I mean, no. Let's choose life. See, we wouldn't need immigrants if we weren't killing all of our Black babies. The big lie to the Black community is back in the 1920s when Planned Parenthood came in and Margaret Sanger, and she's all into her weird theories of population control. She's a racist. She was the racist. And that's who Hillary Clinton quotes as being one of her people that she admires most. Hillary Clinton admires a person who started abortion clinics, convinced pastors to convince in poor Black communities to put the abortion clinics there. And these poor people, we're just going to help you have good health care. And you don't really need that baby. We'll just help you get rid of it. No, because you know what? Blacks contributed to the growth of this country. Black men physically are faster. Did you know that? Their DNA in Black men, their actual muscular structure is different than a white man.
Oh my God. Are we going to go down the Jimmy the Greek route right now? Wow.
Yes, because it's true. It is. But at the end of the day, people don't realize they talk about slavery and there were like 8 really bad plantations. And yes, slavery wasn't great, but here's the deal. If you could go north, Black men were free. Black men were free in America during slavery. People don't want to talk about that. Do you know who our very first Black congressperson was in Congress? Do you know?
Yeah.
In the very first.
I know they were Republicans. I know that.
No, yeah, they were Republicans, but let's look it up so people don't just think it's me.
Oh, okay. I think it's mid 1800s, right?
Congress. He was in the first congressman. So here it is. Meet Joseph Rainey, the very first Black congressman in history. Who was America's first Black congressman? People don't even know this. We need to be teaching Black history so Black men can teach their Black sons how great they were and what the contributions they made. Do you know it was the Black Calgary that went in front, they said, with George Washington, and they're like, hell yeah, we want freedom, and they went and fought. Black men have fought for our country. There's Black men in our country. There you go. There we go. Herman Revels, the very first one. There you have it. Mm-hmm. And what year is it? Read it.
1870?
Yep. And what was the first year of Congress? 1870.
It was?
Yeah, that was the first year of Congress, and these guys were in Congress. There were lots of black people in Congress. There were black women.
Okay, wait, whoa. Hold on one second. I did not realize that was the beginning of Congress?
Well, yeah, you got to go in and read the history. I tell everybody, you go read. Don't tell me to read. Go read. In fact, if not for the proliferation of disenfranchisement laws decades before Reconstruction, the trend toward black political empowerment would likely have expanded at an exceptional rate. The story of America's first black congressman is not just a tale of one man, but of two. I want people to go read for themselves. I don't want to tell people. I want them to go read it. What happened? You lost me. There I am. We need to teach real black history, and then black men will have pride. And you know, the other thing is, I don't know if we have much time, but I'll say this very quickly. Who knows God best on earth? Do you know?
The Pope.
Who knows God?
No, not this Pope. Definitely not this Pope.
Who knows God best? Satan. He was a fallen angel. He was in heaven. He was the most gorgeous angel by all accounts. And he was cast down to earth with a third of the angels, right? But he knows how God, you know your father. You know how your father thinks, right? You know what pisses him off? Because you're his son. Satan knows God. And so what does God say in Deuteronomy, in the Old Testament? God says, men, teach your children. Men, teach your children in the ways they should grow. Men, not women. We're supposed to be the helpmate. Men, you teach your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to divide a family, what would be the best way to do that?
Oh, take the man out of the household. Yes. That's
right. So Satan is the greatest deceiver and manipulator of all time, right? And he's right here on planet Earth. And he went to work really quick, and he figured out he could, through welfare, these black women and minorities, it's not just blacks, it's all minorities with no money, take the man out of the house, give them welfare. Oh, you poor dear. Well, we'll give you welfare, but we can't do it if the man's in the house. So, you know, he has to go. And I say, no, give him more money, because when men eat more, and by God, I want that man to get up with that crying baby at 2:00 in the morning. You know, why are we want to put in all that pressure on a woman, right? No, give the responsibility, don't take it away, and then that boy becomes a man. I'll tell you what, you put a baby in a boy's arm, and that boy will cherish that child. And it gives him responsibility, it gives him something, it takes pride, it gives him something to work for, it gives him something to want to come home to. Don't take the man out of the house. Put the man back in the house. Women, support these men. Get these men back in the home. Boys, become men. Men, take care of your children. And you teach those boys.
Hear, hear.
That's my sermon for the day.
And that's a great way to
nurture you, and I will take care of you. Right?
I love it. I love it. I hope that I'm blessed with a child soon and a nurturing wife. That would be so great. I really appreciate you. Listen, thank you so much for being on. I don't want to turn into a pumpkin or anything like that. We've been yapping here, and I'm sure we can go on and on about all kinds of stuff.
Well, there's so much stuff.
But thank you so much. So I want to talk to you. So you're right now you are running for Congress, right? Let me pull up your website. Okay, here is your website. Okay, and Christine Quinn for Congress.
That picture.
You hate that picture? Why? Where is this?
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. That's in front of the University of Tampa.
Okay,
this is over at the University of Tampa. That's a picture I like.
Nice.
So I'm running for U.S. Congress, 14th District. You could go to votequinn2022.com. You know, I hate to say this, guys, but the truth is, we need money. In order to get a staff so that we can do it right, if you really want me to win, I need a campaign manager, a deputy campaign manager, resource person. We need a volunteer coordinator, a secretary. All these people need to get paid, right? I can't do this on my own. 149,000 people voted for me. If everybody put in $10, we'd have the $1 million. $10, guys, $10 times everyone that voted for me. We'd have the money we needed to get rid of a very liberal Kathy Castor. And I'll end with this. If I was to say to you, who do you think leads the charge for the new Green Deal? What would your answer be?
AOC.
You'd be wrong. It's an eight-term congresswoman out of little old Tampa, Florida, by the name of Kathy Castor, is the chief in charge, appointed by none other than her best friend, Nancy Pelosi. That's the most dangerous bill that has ever come across Congress. It's 14 pages. My 8th grader could have written a better science project. It's dangerous to the world, not just to America. It will destroy our lives as we know it. This is 14 pages, and I guarantee you less than 90% or 90% of Congress people have probably not even read it. They probably haven't even read it. And I could do a whole nother podcast and break down a congressman's daily life, how they're broken down into 15-minute segments, and they get inundated by so many people. They're one person, people, one person. That one person is not making the decision. Something else is turning the wheels in DC, and Trump knew it. And Trump went in there to clean it up, and they fought him because they want the job. And I look at it this way. As a business owner, you're a business owner. Don't you want to have the best employees? Don't you want your employees to be successful? I don't want to have the worst. I want the best. I want the best for everybody, right? So wouldn't it be better if we had the best country? We had Donald Trump back doing what he was doing, back to $2 a gallon for gas, keep the pipelines open, keep industry going, get China out, lower our taxes, put more money. We're better off with doing with our money. We know what to do with it best, right? Mm-hmm. And then helping nurturing our children and growing our country even bigger and better. I don't understand why they want all this destruction. It's like we're in Alice in Wonderland or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's crazy.
Clown world.
Crazy. Clown world. But I need support. I need people share this. I mean, I'm putting my heart out on the line. This is just who I am. I'm just me. I'm one person, and I'm here to help. I'll be your voice. I'll stay calm, but I'll fight hard.
You got to stay calm. You got to learn to just chill out and deal with things as they come. Right?
That's right.
But please, yes, if you could share this, please, because, oh my God, there's some loser nerd dork over in the back room at Google, and he's deciding who wins. He's deciding who wins or loses. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible.
This guy learned how to code while living in his mommy's basement, and now he's choosing who wins or loses in life. So please share this, get it out there, and thank you so much, friends. Remember, vaya con Dios. Adios.
Adios.
He always says, that's me. With that look on his face, he'll talk about anything. Outstanding. Tattoos, t-shirts, politics, history, and hot sauce on everything. Bobby Pickles. Pop culture, documentaries, conspiracy theories, sarcasm, and fear. It's a conversation, start listening, cause we're all here. Bobby Pickles Podcast. That's me. Proud of your boy.